Welcome back, Seth Bling here. Mojang just released the 13w04a snapshot, and it's got some really cool features. You can see on the right hand side of the screen they added a scoreboard, and this is something that uses commands and command blocks. It's not enabled by default, but it has a lot of cool features associated with it, and I'll go pretty deep into that during the course of this video. There's some stuff with dispensers, got a lot of new functionality. You can now use them to execute a lot more actions. You can now tell jukeboxes what disc they're playing. You can rename command blocks. You can make custom TNT cannons and auto mining machines with dispensers. Dispensers can now face up and down as well as droppers. There's a lot of cool stuff. Let me get to it. Actually, so bone meal now works in dispensers, and that's awesome. So if I push a button here, and now bone meal works a little bit differently. So when you use bone meal on something, instead of just instantly growing it, it increases the stage of the thing. So saplings have 2 stages. The first stage won't grow it, the second stage will. And like wheat has 7 stages now, so you have to use 7 bone meal to grow it. I think it's 7. Maybe it's, yeah, anyway. So it works a little bit differently, and that's whether you place it by hand or whether you use a dispenser. But that's going to help a lot with automation. So bone meal works with the dispensers. Flint and steel works with the dispensers. So you can use it to turn on your nether portal. You can also just light something on fire if you want. This is also a new feature. The dispensers can now face upwards and downwards. I think I have some of those around here somewhere. Yeah, over here. So dispensers face upwards and downwards. I think I have some arrows in this one. Yeah, so you can shoot arrows straight up or down, which is kind of cool. Let's see, do I have any? I have fire charges. These look kind of buggy, actually. They kind of like disappear. I think they were not really meant to go straight up and down. But I can also use arrows in here, and it'll kind of shoot it relatively straight up and down. You know, there's going to be some random bias, but pretty cool. And then droppers also go straight up and down. Not quite as exciting, but still, I mean, it's useful. It's definitely useful. Yeah, so you have this dispenser that can light fire to the netherrack below it. Here is. Oh yeah, so this is a really cool new feature. Let's see. So I'm not wearing any armor. I'm going to push this button standing right in front of the dispenser. Hopefully I won't miss. It actually equips you now from the dispenser. So if you have gear that can be equipped, it'll work. It doesn't work with like pumpkins or masks, like player skulls and wither skulls and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it works for all types of armor. And that is really awesome. You can equip it straight to the player. Some random stuff. Let's see, jukeboxes. Let's get a disc. Jukeboxes now output from their, if you have a comparator, they'll output kind of a signal strength depending on which disc it is. So this is the second disc, so it's outputting signal strength of 2. So you can tell when a jukebox is playing, and you can in fact tell what it's playing. So you can make some sort of like password lock based on the jukeboxes. Okay, so you can also rename command blocks. Oh, I've already renamed this one. I'll rename it again. Voice of God. Okay, so I'm renaming it to Voice of God. Now if I use it's like /say you rock at P. The voice of God says it rather than having the @ sign say it. So in the chat here, you'll notice before I was using @ for all the /say stuff. Yeah, pretty simple feature, but it's kind of cool. It'll just a little bit more friendly. What else? TNT now gets dispensed from dispensers primed. So I turn on this clock, and oh, stupid Skype. Hold on, let me turn off my Skype sound. Yeah, so I have this clock here. It's going to drop TNT down, and I'm auto-mining. Super cool. If you have lots of TNT, it's a really easy way to get down the bedrock level. Unless you hit water or lava or something, but turn that off. Yeah, so here's like, you can build really easy cannons too now. So I just have some dispensers with TNT. So if I just time it like this, and in fact, you can kind of create some cool clock designs, so, or some cool clock-based designs. So I have this clock here, which makes the dispenser activate really fast for the projectile. So it dispenses a bunch of projectile TNT, 4 actually, and those will get shot off, which is just pretty cool. A lot of new stuff can be done with TNT cannons, and it's really easy to. You don't have to manually reload it, so you can fire these from afar without having to worry about reloading them. Really cool stuff. Very useful. You should notice on the right side of my screen, there's a kills list, which lists off how many kills everybody's gotten. FE Disco was on this server earlier, and he got a kill. I have 6. There's a lot of new features with the command blocks and that scoreboard. Dispenser's gotten a lot of new features. I have a lot to talk about. Let me start with the scoreboard briefly. Let me spawn a zombie here. If I go ahead and kill the zombie, here we go. My kills goes up to 7. Now, actually, something kind of cool, or actually, it's a little bit weird. You spawn a zombie and attack it. He's angry at me, but mobs are now afraid of tracks, of minecart tracks. They don't want to cross them. It's kind of like superstition, I guess, but they added this feature so that mobs wouldn't block up your minecart rails, which I think is a noble effort, but it might be a little bit abusable. Anyway, that's kind of a really minor feature. So yeah, my kill count is up to 8 now because I attacked that zombie and he died. Yeah, basically there's a bunch of commands to create a scoreboard. We can see on the right there's that kills list. When I press tab, there's a different score counter, and that is my gold piece count. Right now I have 0 gold pieces, but I'll get to that later. So there's all these command blocks. I'm not going to go into great depth about how to use these commands, but I want to show you what the commands look like. So there's this scoreboard command. If you type help scoreboard, well, help scoreboard doesn't do anything. If you type scoreboard, it'll give you kind of some of the things you can do. So you can either use scoreboard objectives. In this case, it's going to list the objectives, or scoreboard players, which lists off which players are being tracked. But you can do a lot more if you type scoreboard objectives and then press tab. It'll give you like a list of the different things you can do with the objectives. And then if you use scoreboard players and then press tab, it'll give you a list of the things you can do with the players. So the general way that it works, the scoreboard, is you have several objectives. And for instance, kills is one of the objectives. That's the one that's showing on the right. Gold is another one of the objectives, and that's the one showing when I press tab. And you have to create the objectives. So like this command right here, scoreboard objectives add kills, total kill count kills. So what this means is I'm going to add an objective. The objective is going to have the name kills. The type of the objective is total kill count, and the display name is kills, although I think this isn't actually being really used right now. I think it only uses the first name here, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so this will create an objective called kills. If you want to remove the objective called kills, you can do it here. And if I go ahead and push this button, it'll remove that objective. You'll notice it's not showing on the right side anymore. I can create it again here. Now notice that when I create the kills objective, it's not going to display anything. In order to get an objective to show up either on the sidebar or in the player list, you need to use this command, scoreboard objectives set display. And there's 2 options here. There's either sidebar or a list. And sidebar puts it on the side, list puts it in the player list. So when I run this command, I'm going to add the kills objective as the sidebar display. So when I push this button, that's what it does. Now it's still not displaying anything, and that's because it doesn't actually display a player in the objectives list until they've gotten some points. So I'm going to add a point here. and I'll show you the command for that. So now you can see it says I have 1 kill. You didn't even have to get any kills. This command block is just adding a point for me. I can also remove a point here. This one sets my kills to 0. Yeah. There's this scoreboard objectives clear display sidebar. It doesn't seem to be working. Maybe it's if you clear display kills. I don't think that was working either. I'm not sure if the clear display is just buggy or what, but I couldn't get it to work. Anyway, so you could manually tweak the players' scores, and so to do that you use the scoreboard players command. And so for instance, if you want to add a point, you use add at p is the player, so that's going to be whoever's closest to the command block. You use the name of the objective that you want to add a point to, and the amount that you want to increase it by. And so this button increases Seth Bling's kills by 1. And then this one is the same thing, except he uses remove, which is actually probably would be better if it was worded as decrease, but in order to decrement the kills by 1. And you can add or remove any number of points you want in the command. And this one is instead of add or remove, it's set, so it sets the kills to 0. And we saw that before. Okay, so this is a really, really cool feature, and it makes the objectives much more useful beyond just displaying them to the players. So here I have a command. This is /say, people between 5 and 10 kills, and then I'm using this funky syntax here. So at A means everyone, but all the stuff between the brackets is going to kind of act as a specifier, which makes it more specific. So if I use score underscore, oh wow, that's confusing. Score kills min. These are underscores. This will filter on players who have at least 5 kills, or not necessarily 5 kills, but who's under the objective kills they have a total of 5, and then this score kills equals 10 will filter on players who have at most 10 kills. So in the end, this will end up displaying a list of all players who have between 5 and 10 kills. Now, if there aren't any players, it's not going to display anything. So if I click this button right now, it's not going to do anything. If I increment my kills count to 4, it's still not going to do anything. It's still not going to do anything. And then if I increment it to 5, I'm now between 5 and 10, so it'll say in the chat, people between 5 and 10 kills, and then in that list is just me. If I increment my score, and you can watch my score on the sidebar here, up to 10, it'll still display me in that list, and then up at 11, it doesn't display me anymore. So you can use this to actually do things, like you could teleport everyone who had 20 kills, or you could use the test4 command, or you don't even have to use test4. This thing will, even on a /say, will output the number of players that it said. So if I decrement my score back to 10, the comparator coming out of this block now outputs a signal strength of 1. There's a lot you can do with it, and it gets especially helpful when you talk about things other than kills, like my gold. But I'll get to that in a sec. And then there's this scoreboard players reset, which is supposed to reset all scores for a specific player, but it doesn't seem to work. But I think Dinnermode is going to fix that, from what he said. Yeah, so the types of objectives that you can create, remember when I created this this kills objective, the objective called kills, I gave it a type of total kill count. So if you want to see the type of the type of objectives you can make, you use scoreboard kills, scoreboard objectives, add, and then that'll, and then yeah, you want to give it a name. So, and then if you just press tab, when you have that all typed out, it'll tell you different types that are available. So player kill count, total kill count, dummy, and death count. Player kill count is the number of player kills you have. Total kill count is the number of total kills you have of mobs and players. Dummy just means it's not going to change unless you change it with commands or command blocks. And then death count is your player death count. Pretty straightforward. But yeah, dummy is actually really useful. So let me talk about what I've done here with dummy. So I created a objective called gold here. You can see the name here is gold, and the type of the objective is dummy. So that's what this button does. This button sets it to display in the list. So it's scoreboard objectives set display list means in the player list, and gold is the name of the objective. So when I press tab, we can see gold is displaying, and I have 0 gold right now. This command gives the nearest player 10 gold. It's just kind of like cheating gold in your inventory. If I press it and press tab, you'll notice I now have 10, 20. Okay, so then this button here buys a diamond chest plate for 25 gold. So there's 2 command blocks involved here. The first one is basically removing some gold from my inventory. So scoreboard players remove, and then this is going to try and find a player within 5 blocks who has at least 25 gold. So that's what this specifier here, score gold min equals 25, means it'll only find players who have at least 25 gold. And so it removes 25 gold from them. And this comparator here will output 1, a signal strength of 1 if it was able to find such a player, and if it wasn't able to find such a player, it'll output a signal strength of 0. This is just an AND gate here, so if you press the button and you found a player, then you give the player a diamond chest plate. So right now I have 20 gold. If I push the button, it doesn't do anything. If I give myself 10 more gold, I have 30. That's enough. So I can buy this diamond chest plate. And you can see that in my inventory. If I press it again, not going to do anything. So now you can create these custom shops for your adventure map or whatever without using levels or physical items. You can just track it on the player, and they'll keep all their gold when they die and everything. There's a lot you can do with this. I think I've talked enough about the scoreboard. If you want to play around with the commands that I've laid out here, you can download the world from the video description. What I would do is, if you want to play around with the kills scoreboard, press this button. Don't press this one. This is going to remove that objective. So press the first button, and then the third button to just set the display of the kills, and then press this button to set your kills score to 0. And you can play around with that. And then if you want to try out this one, just press the create gold button and then the set gold display button, and you'll see it in when you press tab, and you can start giving yourself gold. Now remember, you're not going to, well actually no, that one will actually show what counts even before you give yourself gold. Here's a little note. So you can only display one thing in the sidebar at a time and one thing in the player list at a time, but something you can do is you can use a clock to switch off between what you're displaying. So this one sets the display of the sidebar to an objective I made called custom. This one sets the display of the sidebar to an objective I made called kills. And yeah, if you flick the lever on here, just so the clock's going, if you notice on the right side, it switches between custom and kills. So if you want to display multiple things, that's, I think, the way you have to do it, for now at least. Very cool stuff. Dinnerbone has actually said, he tweeted out that he's going to be adding some team features to this and actually add some friendly fire options so you can't hurt your teammates, which I am looking forward to. So there you go. That's the 13w04a snapshot. You can download this test area from the link in the video description if you would like to try this stuff out for yourself and want help with the scoreboard especially. And thanks for watching.